Hello and welcome to That's Over Everything podcast. This is the podcast where we receive stories, tips, and tactics from entrepreneurs who have done it. Today, we have an amazing guest on our show. We have a treat for you, Mike Bamboo.
Hey,
You know what I'm saying?
Mike
He is an entrepreneur, creative, and I'm really impressed with this story, so I can't wait. So, Mike, thank you for joining us, man.
Thank you. Far too kind.
Mike Russo.
I appreciate
Nice
you
to meet
guys.
you, bro.
Thanks for coming through, man.
Of course,
All
man.
the way to Mississauga,
You know what I'm
where
saying?
every downtown man dreads to come through. Like,
Nah, that place is Brampton, sir.
I don't know why Brampton gets such a bad rap. I like it. Like nice homes, like good family town.
Because it's
What it-
far. There's a
It's
lot of
far.
bad drivers. There's not as much things to do in
That's why they
Brampton.
say their
Yeah.
insurance rates there, like it's like you pay a premium to drive in Brampton. from what I hear.
Exactly.
I feel like Brampton is too far from everything, bro.
Yeah.
Like coming downtown, you have to like leave and then go. Like I wouldn't live over there.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
The
Shout
houses
out
are
to
dope and
Brampton,
it's
though.
cheap,
No hate for
but-
Brampton. No
Yeah.
hate for
Yeah.
Brampton. So,
Let
you-
Six Buzz handle that.
Facts.
Yeah.
the focus of today is Auxgod.
Mm.
So we'll start of the inception of it. So,
So I was at a party, I think it was like 2015, like a year after I got laid off. And I was always kind of like looking for the next thing that I wanted to do.
Mhm.
Photography was going well at that time. And I was like, I always knew like getting close to my 40s, I didn't want to be shooting like weddings as much just because like eventually I'm going to have a family soon. I hope to have a family soon. And
Mhm.
I didn't want to leave if I had kids on a Saturday to go
Mhm.
shoot weddings. Like that's what I was kind of thinking. And I always knew photography could be a very local thing.
Mhm.
And I was like, man, I want to do something that's very global. You know, where I want an idea that I can kind of like touch the world.
Yep.
So photography is going well 2014 after I got laid off. And then 2015, I'm at a party, or 2015 or 2016. I can't really remember. It's just a blur. It's Canada Day. I'm at my friend's party. He's hosting. And I'm just like have a little Bluetooth speaker and I'm just playing old school jams and I'm like just kind of having fun playing DJ. And this guy comes up to me. He's like, yo, why don't we have like a sound clash? And I'm like, absolutely.
What's a sound clash?
True. So a sound clash is like an old school sound clash when
Yeah.
you have two artists are on stage
Mhm.
and like they'll be like dissing each other. You know, they'll play like rhythms and they'll just like freestyle and they'll just like diss each other and just kind of make songs on the spot about each other,
Mhm.
right? And they'll play their own songs and that sort of thing. So he's like, let's have a sound clash, and I was like, cool. Like we'll just play music back and
Yeah,
forth
yeah.
to see who has like the hotter jams
So it's kind of like a verses before the verses.
before the verses.
Verses. So
Exactly.
you can say, we were verses.
We were verses before the verses. Yeah.
We didn't need quarantine for that. or anything
Exactly.
like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're at my friend's party for
Yeah.
a Canada Day, and we started playing. Like we have two tables, so like my table is like we're thinking about songs we can
Yeah.
play, and they're thinking about songs they can play. And then my friend who's the host was like, "Yo, we'll be judges." Cool. So then they start saying like, play female R&B or play female rap, or they start giving us categories. So we play for like, I think maybe like an hour and a half, and I was like, man, this is so dope.
Yeah.
And I went home that night and I was still thinking about it. I'm like, yo, there's so many songs I could have played.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's so many songs out there that
Yeah.
I could have hit them with this, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And I woke up the next morning and I was like, man, it's still in my mind. Like that was so fun. That was so just different. And I was like, okay, shit, like I'll just buy that game if I can find it. Started Googling a bunch of keywords. I'm like, yo, I can't find anything like this. So July 2nd, I was like, shit, I'll just make it myself. So the next day I started like writing questions for the hip hop and R&B game.
So just to get some clarity about the game, how many team members are in each team, and do you take turns?
Yeah, so for Auxgod, what I kind of did was I kind of took games that I liked, and like I took bits and pieces of games that I thought really worked really well. So there's, before I even get into that, like my family is a big gaming family. Every Christmas, holiday, like even now, like we put together like an amazing race for my family. Like
amazing race.
yeah, we do all these different things. Like this year, we're gonna do like a murder mystery.
Like a Mississauga?
Yeah,
Amazing
yeah,
race?
kind of thing. Like we have like different like obstacles they have to do.
Wow.
You know, like in the school in front of my mom's place.
Mhm.
So like we've been a big gaming family for years. So for me, making a game is kind of like
It was meant to
It
be.
was in my
It was in the
genes.
cards, literally.
Yeah. And my mom and my aunts and uncles were always into entrepreneurship. So I was like, oh shit, let me give this a try. You know what I mean? And I was doing photography for so long as a business. So it was like, oh, let me just give this a shot. You know what I mean? It wasn't really hard. So what was the question again? Sorry.
It was discovering and creating the game. July 2nd.
July 2nd. And then we did a Kickstarter. And then by the next July, I was shipping out to the people who submitted the Kickstarter.
Hold on. So before that, before you even got to the Kickstarter, let's talk about actually creating it. So you had the questions down for the game.
Yeah.
Then did you start like going on Photoshop to create it? How did you actually make it? What was that part
So
of it?
the first iteration obviously doesn't look like this because I'm sure like everyone's probably seen the box by now.
Yeah,
If you go on the website right now, you can see it. But when I was doing photography, a graphic designer reached out to me, and she's like, "Hey, I really like your photography. Like, do you want to meet up?" And I was like, "Absolutely." She's like, "I'm just getting into photography too," but she is like the best thing that's ever happened to me. Her name is Becky Draper. She's fire. She is a graphic designer, and at the time, she was working for a big like agency. She was working on like the NHL website, Olympics.
Wow.
Like she was doing like really big things. And I was like, "Yo, can you rebrand my photography stuff?" And she was like, "Absolutely." So from there, we just kind of developed a relationship. And anything I needed like branding for, I was like, "Yo, Becky, hit me up." Like, "Becky, like I need your help." Sorry. So from her, that was questions. I was like, "Becky, I want sharp lines. I want artwork. I want like it to look like an art piece of people's homes. You know what I mean? And I want to be like really bright. So if you're in a store, you can't pass it without being like, "Yo, what is that?" And then she developed like these kind of ideas and like these logos and stuff, and we just kind of tweaked and twisted and see what we landed on.
Yeah.
So I would send her all the words, like all the questions, and she would put them on the cards, and then we have like a big PDF, and then we'd send that to production in China, and then they would create the box, send us a draft, look at the draft.
How'd you find that production in China? Was this Alibaba?
Yeah. I went through Alibaba, AliExpress. I had an Excel sheet. I researched what I kind of wanted the cards to look like, what I wanted the box to look like, what size I wanted it to be. And from there, she just basically helped me like organize all my thoughts and put it into a package.
Yeah. And when you're looking at making this product, what did you do to test out that this could be an actual viable business that made you like, you know what, I am actually so certain about this. I'm going to go to Alibaba. I'm going to go to AliExpress to make this an actual business become a reality.
Like, so, I said my family is like a big gaming family. So when I was testing it out, I was like, obviously test it with my family.
Yeah.
Right? Test with my family and friends first. And it was funny because like the first testing I did, they were like, "I don't get it. It was terrible." And I'm thinking like the game is done, it's a wrap,
the dream is done,
ready to go. And then they're like, "How do you judge this?" I'm like, "Just whatever song is better."
Yeah.
And they're like, "That's so arbitrary." And I was like, "Okay, so I'll put stipulations in like what the judging criteria looks like." So I tweaked that. And then there were certain categories I had that just didn't work. Like they just kind of like lost like the imp of the game. For example, we had one where I was like, play 3 songs from an artist. So you'd play 3 songs and then you play 3 songs. But after you play like 2 songs, I already forgot what the first song might have been or the last, like it became too many, like hearing 3 songs and hearing 3 songs, like I just heard 6 songs as a judge. Yeah. And I'm like, this is too much. It's overwhelming. So it's better just to do, you play a song, boom. Now it's easier for my brain, to organize like what song you played, what song versus what song you played. So that was one thing I cut out. Another one we had was like play songs with features by specific artists or like producers. And I'm like, this is not easy for everybody. You kind of want it to be playable. Every card to be playable. So some things got taken out. They'll probably go in for like another expansion for people who are like hardcore, who know their stuff. Yeah. But for like the base pack, it's like you just want to make it as easy as possible, easily digestible, so everyone can play. And every card could be difficult, but not like impossible.
So walk us through, like, we open up a pop box.
Yes.
What is an example of, so 2 teams, you pick out a card.
Yep.
And then out of that card, you have to choose a song that reflects that.
Exactly.
mood, right?
Yeah.
So once you choose that, what is the judging criteria now?
So the judging criteria is based on, one is like, what song did you like better?
Mm-hmm.
And was the song that you like typical to the card?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to play something that's too typical. So I always give this example. There's a card in the hip hop deck that's like, single ladies make noise, play a song for a girls' night out. Now, if I'm a judge and I hear someone play like Beyonce Single Ladies, I wouldn't give you the point for that.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many songs that could fit in that card. And I feel like that song is way too typical for that card.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't give you the point. But that's me personally,
Yeah.
right? Maybe you would, but I wouldn't. So when you're judging, it's very like, you want to appeal to that judge. So you don't want to be too typical, but you also want to slap. You want to give people songs that maybe they haven't heard of in a while, but songs that also maybe feel a little nostalgic. You know what I mean? So you can play the game with who your judges are, but that's kind of how my criteria is when I've created the game.
Mm-hmm. You know, one thing I find about like a lot of successful card games, like Cards Against Humanity, is that the idea of secrecy, right? Where if I put down a card, you don't know I put down that card.
Right.
And I can actually judge that card because I think it's funny.
Right.
Do you find that perhaps there could be some sense of bias if the judge knows the contestant
Absolutely.
and they can choose that other person? And how do you get over that bias? What do you educate them to not be biased in choosing the song?
Here's the thing. When people are, you think that would happen, when people are judges, they get their Simon Cowell on. They are so ruthless. I have videos on my phone where people are arguing with each other. Like, how could you not pick my song? They're beefing.
Right away.
They're beefing. They're like, yo, you didn't pick my song. Why didn't you do this? Like, you know what I mean? This song slaps harder than that. And the judges are like, yo, that's my decision. It is what it is. Like, carry on. Next card. You know what I mean? You guys gotta live with it and just move on with it. So the arguing is part of the game. And there's even cards I've written that are purposely there to make people argue. You know what I mean? Because all good games have a little bit of that. You know, that arguing, that like thing you take home and you're like, yo, I still can't believe Sandra didn't pick my song, bro. Like, that's crazy. She doesn't know music. I hate when she judges. You know what I mean? Like, those are the kind of things you want to have when you leave. So yeah, that's kind of how, luckily, music is so emotional to people that it kind of, that bias is not going to go away with people. It kind of helps the game.
When did you realize you need to double down on that bias to like, you know what, the controversy might be a good thing. Let me add more questions that's just going to trigger people.
Yeah, so I have like cards in there that are like very open vague, like play a song from the best rapper alive.
Oh man.
So people are just like, okay, I'm going to play Jay-Z. But if you're playing with a younger cousin, maybe like, I'm going to play Drake.
I'll play
you know what I mean? Like,
whatever these new rappers, these little guys, you know what I'm saying?
Yo, NBA Youngboy is like the new Wayne right now.
Yep.
You know
and like Cordae is really good too. Like,
I was talking about Cordae literally
Corday's
today.
fire.
Talking about Cordae, I'm
in
like,
the car.
I mean, I like the classics. I'm
of course, I hear you. Yeah,
all those guys, but these little guys, I always call them the Lils. Lils because I just don't. It's not my style. You know? So I don't know what's popping.
No, I get you. I get you.
Yeah.
But that's the part of the game. So like, if you're a judge, maybe I wouldn't play one of those littles that you're grouped in, right? I play somebody else.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah.
But that's the whole point of the game. Is like, everyone. If it's a team of three that are judging, you know, judging is done individually. We're not judging as a team. So I'm trying to appeal to the majority, right?
You know, because everyone has
strategy
in music.
It's a strategy.
Exactly. Like I might like you, Alex, but my music taste is so different. So even if you choose something, I'm like, nah, I'm gonna stick to the criteria and choose, because you gotta stay true to the art. It's not about you at the end. So I can definitely see how this definitely has like a twist to it that you know, Cards of Humanity is more secrecy. So this is good, man. I can see the vision now.
Thank you.
Yeah. Most definitely. So now let's get into the Kickstarter now. So you've created the game and you have minimum viable product, right? Talk us through getting the Kickstarter off the ground.
Man, that was a complete like flop. Like, I think that was like my worst moment, I think, of this whole process, was doing a Kickstarter.
Really?
Absolutely. I didn't prepare for it. I didn't really research it. I was so rushed in my mind to get it out as soon as possible that all the research I had read, I just kind of ignored. The way how you should do a Kickstarter is you have your product, maybe you make a website that has maybe like a free download, you run ads to it, you know what I mean? And you get emails and you email them like, hey, you know, we're gonna make a full game of this soon. You might do that for like a year. The most successful Kickstarters, that's how they do it. They run it like a presidential campaign. It's a Kickstarter campaign. That's what you're doing, right? You're campaigning to get people's attention, to get their money, to get their emails, their signatures, their excitement. And I did none of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of prep work that goes into it.
There's so much prep work that like I didn't realize how important it was until after I did it. Because a lot of people don't know is like the first 2 days are gonna be your most successful days, and your last few days up until your deadline. So like your first 2 days, you want Kickstarter, the algorithm, to see like, hey, this is getting a lot of money, a lot of attention. We need to put this on the homepage, right? That's what it does. They put on the homepage for you if you do really well. So I didn't get that because I didn't do all that campaign stuff. I had like my first day, I think I had maybe $1,000 or so. I only needed $4.
Yeah.
You know, I had 25%, but it wasn't enough for Kickstarter to put me on the homepage.
What was the reasoning behind choosing the $4,000 as a goal?
So yeah, what I did was when I was reaching out to Alibaba and AliExpress, I had an Excel sheet with like the costs and everything. And I thought, you know what, if I can get $4,000, I could get like X amount at the time. You know, things have changed now with COVID, like everything's like kind of all over the place with prices. But at the time I was like, hey, I can get a solid amount for the $4,000 that I'm looking for. So that was kind of my reasoning, like how much it would cost and how many I can get.
Gotcha.
Dope. So now the Kickstarter is a fail. How much money did you end up getting from the Kickstarter?
No, it didn't fail. It didn't fail.
It was just challenging.
It was super challenging. And that 30 days, I had crazy anxiety, like through the roof. Like I thought about it every day, all day.
What's the anxiety about?
Because I just wanted to be successful.
Okay.
And like that middle, like let's say you start your Kickstarter on the 1st of January and it ends on the 30th. The first 2 days, like you get a lot of people like donating and putting their money and like supporting you. And then like by day 7, it's like crickets, right? And I had met up with an agency who like really pushes people's Facebook campaigns. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get their help. So I paid them and then that flopped. So then I was like, oh, this is gonna be a flop. Like this is not gonna work at all. So in that middle, like day 7 to like 23, I was just like, man, this is tough. Like I don't know what I'm doing. Like marketing wise, I don't know. Like, you know, I'm throwing money at agencies and they didn't come through. And I was like, well, if they didn't come through, maybe the game sucks. Like maybe it's a wrap.
Maybe
like
no one likes it like that.
Yeah, maybe no one likes it like that. Like all the tests I did with people who know me, maybe they liked it, but in the real world, maybe no one likes it. You know what I mean? Like all these thoughts are going through my mind. I couldn't sleep. Like
what was at stake?
I just wanted to be successful.
Just the pride of it.
I just wanted to like do something I was super excited about, and I was like, I think people will fuck with this, and just to not get that response back like immediately, I was like, oh shit, like, so I was like, this is not gonna work, and like I had this thing called like, I didn't even know what it was at the time, it called like exploding head syndrome, where I would wake up in the morning and I would hear like bangs, like people were like closing cupboards like super loud. Like after like a day, I was like, what? Like, are they doing construction? Like, it was weird. And then like by like day 3, I was like, nah, this shit is in my mind. Like something's happening. And I Googled it and I was like, yo, this is what I have. Yeah. I was pushing myself to a point where like I had exploding head syndrome. I was waking up to like these loud bangs and like bright flashes. It sounds crazy.
Wow.
Like mans are going crazy, bro. Like it was really happening. And then I was like, okay, like I gotta calm down.
Yeah.
Like I was reading online like Wikipedia and I'm like, yo, I gotta calm down. Like I gotta go to sleep early. You know, I can't think about it too much.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, like I put more money of my own money into the Kickstarter just for optics to get people to buy into it. And Facebook was really popular at the time. And I was like, hey, you know what? Like, you know, we're 75% funded. So then people started to put more money in towards the end because it was so close. And we made the goal. But yeah, that whole process. And after I did it, I was like, I'll never do that again. Never.
Do you feel like you gave it your all for that campaign, now reflecting back on it?
No, I didn't do it properly. But during the campaign, I tried everything I could to make it successful without doing the pre-work, which I should have done. So during the campaign, like I was trying, I was emailing. I was finding services where I can like download my whole Facebook friends, like their emails.
Yeah.
So is that how you got the first ones to get out for that first 2 days? It was downloading that Facebook list?
Yes.
I was wondering, like, how did you get that initial traction
Yeah,
going?
it was called like Green something. I don't think they're even around. I don't think you can
Probably
do that
not.
anymore.
No, you can still do that off LinkedIn a little bit,
Yeah.
but you really can't download your Facebooks anymore. They'll put you to your friends list and make you look at that. So
yeah.
that's
Everything was like really different. Like you could download like your whole friends list emails and stuff like that. So I was doing like things like that, and I was paying for these things. You know,
Got you.
I was paying.
So how much? Did you have a positive ROI from the Kickstarter?
No, not at all. I was in the hole.
Ooh, how much
I
were you
was in the hole. Probably $2,000 or $3,000.
Okay.
Because the agency. It was because of the agency.
Got you. So the agency was paying to get traffic on Facebook to go to the Kickstarter. It wasn't to a landing page or anything like that.
Yes, and
that
it
was one of the
wasn't successful.
problems.
Like I think I probably got like 2 or 3 sales.
Yeah.
And it was dope because like, I mean, it would have been dope because if it works, they would have put like thousands of in there, right? But for me, it didn't work.
Got you. So for moving on from the Kickstarter, you have about the 4K, you know, but you're still in the hole about 2. Where do you go from there?
I just fulfill the orders. I fulfill the orders. I still work on the game. I still finish it. I do more testing.
Mm-hmm. How many orders were these that you sent out? And like, what was like the margins that you were dealing with when, especially doing a Kickstarter, because you're offering an incentive to get them to buy.
Yeah. What did I do? I think the incentive. I don't think I even had anything crazy. I know Kickstarter, like people go pretty, like you get free T-shirts and like all this kind of. I didn't do any of that.
Any stretch goals that you had?
No, dude. I couldn't afford stretch goals.
Yeah.
I couldn't afford stretch goals. I couldn't do that at all. No, I just said, you know what? Keep it simple. Just get the game.
Yeah.
And the game was like $20. Like it was cheap at the time.
You know, like I had a friend who did a Kickstarter. They did it for a bra. Yeah. And they offered it. So the whole concept of the bra was that, you know, women's breasts fluctuate in size over the month because of their period, right?
Yeah.
So they actually sold the bra at like, it is a crazy, crazy low price that when they actually went to manufacture it, they're actually in the hole with it. So they actually ended up taking out a loan for it. And you know how you're saying Kickstarter failed for you? Yeah. Kickstarter was actually the death of their business because they couldn't fulfill the orders. Yeah. And now when they actually fulfill the orders, now they're down. Yeah, that's crazy. 30, 40 grand. Yeah, they luckily gotta pay that up. You know? Luckily that I didn't have that because that would have been another thing. You know what I mean? These are like some of the Kickstarter disasters that people don't think about. That if you do not do it right, if you don't plan at all they're planning for 9 months. Yeah, they had Elle magazine, they had BuzzFeed, they had everyone and anyone backing them up. Yeah. That was the whole thing, was just build up towards Kickstarter. Right. Kickstarter happened, they raised $100K. Oh, that's amazing. They did $100K, but you have to think about it. That $100K, it's not really $100K. No, it's not. Yeah. You gotta like get all the shipping, there's manufacturing, everything like that. So there's people taxes. Are not getting their bras. Right. I didn't purchase, but I just donated to the cause because of my friends. But I just saw like how if you do not plan your Kickstarter right, these are the disasters that can happen, and you have to take out money to do it. So if you look, anybody who's listening, look up the coolest cooler. The coolest cooler was a really successful Kickstarter. They had big wheels on this cooler that you can go over sand and stuff, like any kind of terrain. They had USB ports. They had a radio built in. Like it really was like the coolest cooler. Was it on Shark Tank? I think I saw something like that on Shark Tank. No, this is probably, I think that company went out of business, the coolest cooler. Really, eh? Yeah. So what happened? It was same thing. Same thing, eh? Yeah, same thing. Like they didn't charge enough. Yeah. People didn't get their coolers. And all the money that they had, they didn't have enough money to fulfill their Kickstarter. I think they made like millions in their Kickstarter, but it wasn't enough, and the company folded before it even started. Damn. Yeah.
That's tragic.
It's a blessing and a curse. This Kickstarter, Indiegogo platforms.
Mhm.
And Kickstarter, the thing is, if you don't hit your goal, you don't even get the money.
You don't get anything.
At least Indiegogo, if you actually get
That's true.
90% of your money, the
Yeah.
goal, you at least get the funds.
Yeah. They give you what you've made.
But Kickstarter has a cachet, it has the brand, it has everything.
Right.
So that's where everyone knows, like, what's Indiegogo?
Yeah.
But Kickstarter, I know what Kickstarter is.
Right. Yeah.
Most definitely. So now,
MD, bro.
MD.
Alex has this thing he keeps saying most definitely like he's a New Yorker or something.
Yeah, that's my tick. You know, everyone has their own audio tick or the way they
Right.
speak.
Yeah.
So most definitely something I'm trying to get out of my
Yeah.
own speech. So, you know, after the Kickstarter, you know, you're still seeing a little bit of traction here and there.
Yeah.
Was Facebook the next step?
Yeah, Facebook was the next step. So like I started doing no, it's not true. I did Instagram first.
Okay.
I did influencers.
How'd that go?
So it was really well. That's how I was kind of like paying my bills, like staying afloat was Instagram. So what I was doing was I was finding these Black entrepreneurship accounts, and I would send them an ad that I made. I don't think I even had content of people playing at the time. I was just like, you know, this guy made a game, you know, and this kind of how the game works. And then people were actually supporting me, you know, which was crazy. I think I was paying $60 for a post. Then I was making like $1,200.
Damn.
And I was like, oh shit. Like I remember I was in New York the first time it went up. I paid my $60 and I was like, man, I'm just praying like this works. You know what I mean? Like I just wanted to work so badly. And then we were driving around. I looked at my phone and it was just like sales.
Shopify.
It was just like, I was like, whoa. I'm like, where is this coming from?
Yeah.
And I was just like so happy that people were enjoying it. And then after that, people started to send me videos of them playing it. And I was like, this is crazy. I can't believe people are playing it the way how I tested it. And it's, you know, it's real. Like people are understanding how the game
The proof
works.
of concept. This
Now,
is when you're like,
yeah,
I'm onto something.
I'm onto something now, you know what I mean? And I was like, whoo. So I did that for a long time. And then
how long's a long time? Like 6 months or a year?
No, I think I did that for about like a year.
Okay.
What year was this?
I can't remember now, like 2017,
2017,
maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, 2017, 2018. I had ended up buying like my first Kickstarter campaign, I bought 300. And then I think I bought 2,000 after. And I think the first 300, I gave them to the Kickstarter, like the people who helped, you know, like the what do you call it? Subscribers?
The donors?
The donors, yeah, the donors.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the orders, I think I just gave them all away. Like I see people like George Strombolopoulos on Downtown. I'm like, yo, I made this. Like,
Try it.
play it, try it. You know what I mean? Take a picture, put it on Instagram. Like I was just doing stuff like that. People I knew like from the creative community, I'm like, yo, just take it. Boom, boom, boom. Like I was just kind of just giving it away because when I first started photography, that's what I did. I went on Kijiji and I was like, I need work and I'll just shoot you for free. So the same thing I did for this. I was like, I want you to play, take it for free. Same kind of concept.
I also read that you were sending emails to all these bloggers, all these magazines to get you covered. And they came back to you and they said that we don't cover hip hop.
Yeah.
And then you ended up taking a trip to New York.
Yeah, that was the trip to New York when I was like,
when you're posting. I saw that video as well.
Yeah.
So walk us through that. Like, what was it that they didn't like about the game, even though you had a proof of concept?
You know what it was, man? I just can't. There's so many things. Like, maybe it's hip hop. So it's hip hop.
Is it like too black or something like that?
That's what I was thinking, but like no one doesn't tell you that, right?
Yeah.
It was that was a problem. It was some writers were on strike. Like I was like, they're not getting paid properly, so they weren't writing anything, and then they were getting paid for it. And that's a scam too with writers. Like when you go to like these Vice, like they're not called the editorials, right? They're not. They're advertorials. Something like that they call, where like you have to pay to get written about.
Yep.
Right. So it's like I'm like, oh, this is a scam. Like no one's writing from the goodness of their heart.
No.
They're writing because like you paid Vice, you know, like $3,000 or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, it's a big business.
I'm like, I didn't know that. I thought they were writing because they had good stories. I'm like, oh, this is a scam. So I'm walking in here, I'm like running my stuff, and like everyone's like, no. And I'm like, fuck it, I'll just do advertising, I'll do guerrilla marketing on my own. And that's why I went to New York.
Don't sleep though. That's actually a tactic a lot of people are using now. Is that Vice, Forbes tactic? You know, where they'll pay to get written up, and then they'll pay traffic on that ad for that story, and then they'll bring the traffic. They'll have the backlink to their website, and that's like a whole funnel they do.
Yeah, like I just didn't have the time. I didn't have the money at the time.
Yeah.
Right now I could do that, but I didn't have the money at the time. And even still now, I feel like, yo, I'm not doing it. Like I feel like I don't want to do it just because like it's just so shady.
It doesn't feel authentic.
It's not authentic at all. Like, just do your job, bro. Like you get paid. Like I'm sure if you email them on the side and you're like, hey, I'll give you like a couple $100. Could you write this? You might be able to slip through, you know? Or they're like, we need like the editor-in-chief to process this. And I'm like, so if I pay, it's a yes no matter what. You know what I mean?
So I can have a crappy product, but I'm guaranteed to get, this is why I used to read Hypebeast a lot.
Yeah.
And over time I was like, this doesn't seem genuine, authentic.
Right.
I used to go there to like look at the street style photos.
Yeah.
Over time I started noticing that is actually fading off, and it was more addy, like more advertised. Hey, look at this new brand by Shika Momomoto from like Japan, and he came to New York, and this jacket is like $3,000.
Yeah.
Hey, you any consumer who's like in high school, college, buy this $3,000 jacket. I was like, this does not make sense for the audience.
That's exactly how I felt.
You know what I mean?
And like you can put your money into it, and like it doesn't mean you're gonna get a sale. You just get like the ego trip of being like, yo, I was featured on Forbes.
Man. I've known a couple people who've been featured on Forbes, and I asked them, I was like, how did you feel after you got featured on Forbes?
Yeah.
They're like, honestly, like the buzz was so good for 2 days, but after that, no one really cared.
Yeah.
It's like people actually care about, are you really successful? Are you really producing? But those Forbes articles get you to the door. It gets you.
Yeah, they could. Yeah, for sure.
People opening their LinkedIn messages for you once you put it on things. Hey, I was featured on Forbes. I was featured on Complex and everything like that.
No, it is true. Like those things, it can help. I'm just like, I might do it. Like I'm not saying I wouldn't, but like I don't want to. You know what I mean? I don't want to, but like I might have to at one point.
Yeah.
But right now, and the thing is, like you said, 2 days, and then you have to find out how to make money for the rest of the month. You know?
Yeah.
You got to figure it out. Like you have to do your own marketing every day, all day.
Man, it's like everyone's like on their phones. People are pumping out news. People are pumping out content.
Yeah.
It's like scroll, like dopamine. Like read your story. Oh my God, I like this Mike guy. Boom, forgot you. Unless you come back again and again and again, promoting your stuff, I'm not gonna remember you because I'm being bombarded from TikTok, Twitter.
Yeah, you can be distracted so easily.
Yeah, LinkedIn now is actually becoming even a distraction.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It is a lot.
Right here, we're in your warehouse. Give us the tour. What's going on here?
So yeah, this is the warehouse here. It's a shared space. I share it with 3 other people. As you can see, like this guy has a lot of the space. He does a lot of scaffolding. So like during the week, he's got a lot of contractors and construction workers coming and picking this stuff up. And then in this space right here is a library. It's like a bookstore, I think, downtown. And they probably have like the majority of the warehouse. And then I got my spot just right here.
How did you find this spot?
Kijiji.
Kijiji, eh?
Yeah. Because what happened was I knew I was getting a big shipment that was coming in, and I was getting a little nervous because I was like, I need a place to put it. And I had bought, I think, 150 square feet at Apple Storage, and it was costing me like $400, like a month.
Damn.
And then I got it 2 months early, and then the stuff were delayed. So now I was just paying for the storage that I wasn't using.
Yeah.
And then I was still looking for space because I was like, honestly, 150 isn't really that much. And it's one level, no racks, right? It's like you throw the garage door open.
Whatever it is, yeah.
So then I was on Kijiji still looking, and I didn't even put anything in that space. And I found this space, and I was just like, man, I came in, I was like, I need this. I need this. Like, this is what I want.
Have you been in here for?
I've been here officially since September 2021. Yeah.
So it's pretty recent.
Really recent.
Yeah.
And when I came in here, like there was a guy here before. He had like a couch up here. Like it was just like obviously way different, right?
Yeah.
And I emailed him and I was like, hey, you're leaving? Can I buy these racks from you? Because these racks are like $1,500 each. Like they're expensive.
$1,500 each.
Yeah, they're expensive.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. You go on Uline, check it out. Like they're expensive, and there's extra ones back there too. Like I have extra racks if I go to another space.
Racks on racks on racks.
Trust me. And he was like, yo, you can have the racks, you can have the desk. He even threw in the fridge. He was like, you can have everything for $500.
What?
Yeah, and I was like, easy, done. I'll give you $500 right now.
Wow.
So I got super lucky.
No, it's a blessing.
And the landlord here is super cool. Like, gave me a key. I can come 24/7 whenever I want. Yeah, it's dope.
So how'd you learn that to use a forklift? Was it just natural?
Yo, you know what's so crazy how life works? My first job, I worked at Rona.
Okay.
When I was in high school.
The how-to people.
Yeah. When I worked at Rona when I was like 15, 16.
Yeah.
And from there I learned how to use a forklift.
Yeah.
I haven't driven a forklift since I was like 18 years old.
And then it came right back to you, muscle memory.
Boom. Easy.
It's funny, like
riding a bike.
skills. Transferable skills.
Yeah, it's like
You know
riding a
what I'm
bike.
saying?
And the reason why I got fired from that job, because I was taking photos inside the warehouse.
That's hilarious.
And I became a photographer later on.
That's hilarious.
Life is crazy, bro.
Things turn around like that, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, how does it feel? Like, you know, like when you have a business and you get in a warehouse, when people come and see, you're like, wow, you're in a warehouse. It's like a signal of you're booming, you're successful. Ever since you've like come in the warehouse, what's that done to your psyche and mentality? Like, is that a signal of growth?
No, that's a good question. Because, you know, honestly, like once I had the skids all over the place, I was like, man, this is so much work. Because the next day I had another 16 coming in. And I had my mom, my sister, like everyone, like family just coming here and to help me organize. And like, it was super overwhelming. But when we got everything in and I was like using the space, I was like, yo, should I have a warehouse, bro?
Yeah.
Like, should I actually have a warehouse? Like I'm not at my house anymore.
It's like a sign you're
I'm
making
not in the
it.
basement.
Yeah, you're on the way to like get to where you want to be, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I'm not in the basement anymore.
Facts. So tell me about the setup here.
So this is what we got. Like when I first got the order, it was 45,000 games.
Wow.
45,000.
45,000.
So can you explain the 45,000 in a game? Like, is that like a box or cards? Like, what do you mean 45,000 a game?
So there's 45,000 actually like individual boxes.
Got you.
In those boxes. So all these big cartons hold 30. Yeah. So order was 45,000. Some went to the distributor in Atlanta.
Okay.
And most of them came here. So we have every genre here: hip hop, R&B, soca, dancehall, pop, country. They're all here. What was crazy when I first got the shipment, the distributor needed, I think, 3,200 pop games. And I was like, yo, I wish you had just told me that from the jump, because I would have just told the manufacturer to send it to you directly. So I get all these skids, right? And they're all over the place. The 3,200 that I needed are in maybe 4 on that skid, 2 on that skid, none on that skid. So every skid, I'm going through it, looking for what they need. It took me all day. I had to get my mom, my aunts come here, and like to go through every skid they gave, pick out what we needed to put it aside for them, and then rewrap it.
Tell me how you pitched your auntie to come in.
You know what? So before that, like they were coming on the weekends.
Okay.
Like I call them like these packaging parties.
Yeah.
And like I would like obviously feed them, and like we'd have music. We take out all these. We have like 4 of these tables and chairs, and everyone just kind of comes and they just like stuff, rap, jokes, you know, that kind of thing. We're just like kind of having fun with each other.
Yeah.
And then we just like kind of pack them all into these big white bins. So they knew the shipment was coming. So when I was like, hey, I just got the shipment, they were like, do you need help? Like, we'll come. I can come after work, kind of thing. So it wasn't a hard sell, but I really appreciate all their help, because it took hours. It took me 3 days to organize.
Wow.
3 days.
Yeah,
I was bust. I was so tired.
Man, that's a blessing to have your family just come in and help you, and they don't want anything back. They just want to see you succeed.
Exactly. Yeah.
How does that make you feel like when you see that?
It's honestly good. It's good. Yeah, it's really good. It's good. I'm like just really blessed to have that many people, because sometimes it's like 8 of us here on like a Sunday at noon,
Man,
just like packaging.
They want to see you win, right? Take that in on a weekend. You're spending packaging boxes,
just packaging stuff
back
and
to
just
back
putting
sometimes.
aside.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So we
man.
have like we'll fill those white containers, and then in the Q4 when things are crazy, like I was going through one of these containers in like, I want to say in a week, and you can put like 800 games in there.
Damn.
So it was like less than a week, I think, ish. Like I was like finishing one of those things. So they would have to come back like the next week. They're like, do you need help next week? And I was like, no, I don't think so. But then I would increase the ad spend because I was like, yo, things are going well. And now I'm like, yo, I need you guys to come back because like it's done.
Yeah.
Right?
Who's treating the business as if, you know what, like this is my company too, like the way I'm helping.
You know what? I think my mom.
Yeah.
My mom probably is the most like, move this here, do this, like, Michael, put the garbage. Like she's like, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, mom, just chill, relax.
Hire as a COO, chief operating officer or something like that.
She's probably the most like excited about it, but like everyone is pretty much like they care. You know, like they all put their work in. They're all like getting super dirty, moving stuff around. Like you couldn't have like if they were employees, they'd be the best employees you could find. Because when you get employees, sometimes like they get tired. Best employees.
Some employees just come in, clock in, clock out. I did my thing. Them, like they do it with passion. And that's hard to find.
We're pretty close. So
during
it's
the
good.
startup phases. Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah.
So super amped for you, bro.
For sure. Thank you.
You know, now that you've got the company rolling, how has logistics been for you?
Yeah. So like supply chain has been pretty crazy because of COVID. So raw materials are up. I think it's like 20, 25%. Shipping containers are backed up. They're not sending as much shipping containers out. So you kind of have to wait until your turn where they can get you in a shipping container. When they do, there's a backlog like in Vancouver or in California to get your stuff to you. Some of this stuff I have here was supposed to get delivered to me in October, November. I didn't get it until December, you know? And because they were waiting at the port, then, you know, other things happened, like BC had that flood, right? So they couldn't take my products from BC to Toronto by train. They had to wait because they had to replace the train tracks. So it's like other things are just happening. So it's COVID and like the increase in prices of everything. And like there's a backlog at the port. Now the flooding, like they replace the train tracks. So like all this is happening,
everything's
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm getting bills from like the government being like, you know, this was at the port for too long, you know,
pay up.
We need 8K. It's like, bro, like, you know, this is crazy.
That's nuts.
You know, it's just like all of these things are happening because nothing's running smooth right now for like anybody that's like doing supply chain stuff.
Yeah, I'm noticing that too. A few of my clients are having a lot of issues when it comes to getting stuff from other countries coming in, getting help at the ports, and it's affecting their COGS, their cost of goods sold.
Yes.
So how are you balancing that? I noticed that you have 4 products, you know. So are you trying to bundle that to increase your average order value to try and get some money back?
Yeah, so we had to do some smart things. So what I used to do was if you buy 2, you get 10% off of the full order. Now what I do is if you buy 2, you just get free shipping. Now I have to charge for shipping because I wasn't charging for shipping before. Because it was like $25 with free shipping, and it was like just an easy transaction for the customer to, you know, to dissect, to digest, you know. On the website, boom, $25 to my door, easy. Now with everything changing, you know, we've had to charge for shipping, charge for express shipping, give away free shipping if you buy 2, no more discounts. You know, we've had to do things like that just to, you know, pay for things like the games, you know, warehouse space, you know, people that I have like on payroll now, just, you know, there's things that have to be paid.
How many people are on payroll?
3.
Interesting. Well, what are some of the roles?
Blog writer.
Okay.
We have like a virtual assistant who's doing a lot of the Instagram content, posting the blogs. I'm looking for 2 more playlist creators, just things like that. And I have one playlist creator, but looking for 2 more, just for different genres. But just, you know, keeping things like lively and fresh. And that's where I am right now, just because, you know, I think I'm at a point now where I can afford to pay people for the things that like I can't do or I don't have time to do, which feels so good because some of these ideas I've had on the list of to-do lists since like 2016 and when I was like visualizing what I wanted to do, and now I can finally do it because things are starting to go in a direction where I'm not flipping and buying games like every 3 months. That was a big problem last year. Like you would make X amount of dollars and then you have no more. And then you're like, okay, well, I need to buy more. And everything you made, you'd have to buy more. So you had no money, and you sell those and you like, okay, well, now I sold 10,000 games. I made X. Now I need to buy 30,000 games. So what you made is all gone.
Yeah.
So, like that was the game I was always playing. And now since I bought so many, I'm not going to have to do that, which is great. And it feels like it's a big weight off my shoulders. And like I said, I can do things I've had on my list since like 2016 or 2015 that I've always wanted to do. And now I can do those things.
Oh, that's beautiful. And you started off with the hip hop?
Yeah. Hip hop, pop, country, and then soca dancehall.
How was going from hip hop to other genres? Was that like something?
Yeah. So luckily, when I made the pop game, I actually had interns. I had 5 interns at the time. 2 of them worked on the business ideas and strategy, wrote the business plan. Another 2 did writing for the game. And I had 1 more who was doing like social media content. And they were getting credits for school. I was at East Room downtown at the time. So we were there like 2 or 3 times a week and just like working on the business. And it was great. Like everything that they did, I think it took me like a year to do. And I had them for like 3 months.
How'd you find these interns? Was it through like a platform?
It was a friend. So a friend had his own business as well. And he was like, yo, you should get interns. And I was like, what do they do? And he's like, well, they're in the marketing media. I'm like, oh, that's perfect for me. So I think they were George Brown students. And I put out an ad. I put out like what's it called? Like a post on their message board.
Like a job posting.
Yeah, like a job posting on their message board. And I had a whole bunch of like responses.
That's a low-key gem.
Yeah. It was great. It was really great. Great students. And they worked really hard. And one, like the way how I know hip hop and R&B, one of the girls knew pop music like that. Like pop music is its own culture, it's its own thing. And it goes so far back. So she was so happy to be working on the game because she really knew her stuff. And it was great to give her that opportunity, you know what I mean? She really loved pop music, so she helped write the game with another gentleman. And I think they absolutely killed it. Like we all kind of wrote it together, but like they put a lot of work into it. And then I oversaw, changed things, blah, 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 But yeah, I absolutely give them all the credit in the world for the pop game.
So what I'm holding in my hand right now is a country.
Yeah.
And I know you're not a country man.
No.
Right?
Yeah.
So walk us through the country questions, going in depth, getting people beefing over certain country questions.
Yeah,
like
the country game.
Yeah, did you come up with some questions as well, or did you get some?
No,
help?
I tried.
I tried.
Yeah. So with the country one, I tried to write questions just to get the ball rolling because I knew I couldn't do it, right? And I was like, I know I need to hire somebody to do this, but I want to get the ball rolling in terms of what I wanted the cards to look like. And so I wrote some sample questions down, and I put up a post on Instagram, and I found a guy that lives in New York now, but he's from Texas. Instagram, he's got cowboy boots on, hat,
Wrangler jeans.
Yeah, like he's got like the flag in his bedroom. Like he's
like
through and through like a country man, you know what I mean? And another girl from Vancouver who grew up just like their country with her parents. So I'm like, oh, perfect. So they collaborated. And then I would go and test that one out to make sure every game gets tested for like almost like a year, to be honest with you. Like it gets tested like crazy. Okay. Yeah, because I make sure there's no holes in the game. So when it goes up there, it's like, it's good.
It's like a good game. It's
a good game. Yeah. To make sure like the culture, all these games have a different culture. Even if the cards, let's say they sound similar, they read differently because if you're part of that culture, like you hear yourself in there, you know what I mean? Like the country cards have questions about, play a song about your trusty steed. You never had that in the hip hop game. You know what I mean? It's like play a song about, like your woman or God or like liquor, you know what I mean? Those are like beer and all that. It's all country stuff, line dancing. So the culture is in that game. And just like every game that we make, it's really important to me that you're getting an authentic product, not just words on a piece of paper, you're actually getting culture in a box.
Have you heard any feedback from the country yet, or?
Not too much, but I know people have enjoyed it. The country one is tough because that was made during COVID, the beginning of COVID. And since we've been in lockdown up and down, I haven't been able to push that game like I've been able to push the rest of the games because I haven't been able to make any content for that because we've been in lockdown like almost every week. You know what I mean? It's crazy. So so the end of last year, I said, okay, cool. Like in this year is the year where I can finally put out advertisements, get people playing, tape them. But then Omicron came out, you know? So it's like, now we're back in lockdown again. So there's people don't want to be outside like that. So now it's like, man, I just want to get this out to the people because I know they'll enjoy it, but it's hard because of where we are right now.
Most definitely. Yeah. Now let's talk about pushing it out to the people. Facebook and Instagram ads have been big for you, no?
Yeah, it's been huge.
Walk us through how you've been able to advertise on the platform. You know, this is what I do, so I want to dive deeper.
Yeah, so my first go at this, this was maybe 2019, 2018. I'm so bad with the dates, bro. Like 2018.
You've been in the game for so long, you don't even remember. Like,
yeah, I'm an old man out here.
Yeah.
It was like 2018, 2019. I was just like losing money. I had a bunch of products that I had to sell, and I was like, man, like I gotta try this out. I made an ad, tried to spend no money to make it. My friend lives in the Marilyn Monroe buildings down in Mississauga, and I was like, can you give me the building? He's like, yeah, I can try. You know, and I had my friend who's an actor, and I'm like, I need you to direct me in this commercial. I brought like a bunch of games, put them on a table, like made like a pyramid out of them. And I just smiled and I was like, this is Auxgod. And I wrote a whole script out, memorized it. And then I had cuts of people playing the game and then cuts of me like, you know, putting cards down and fanning them out and that sort of thing. And I put that ad up and I was like, it looks good. I look very happy about the product. I got people playing. That shows great social proof that the game actually works and does what it's supposed to do. And I put the ads up and it was like, flop, 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 flop. And I'm like, bro, I cannot catch a win. Like what's going on? You know what I mean? And I tested it for like a month. And in that month, bro, it was like the EFT tour. Like Facebook would try to get money from like PayPal. And then PayPal was like, there's no money. And then PayPal was going to like my bank account. Banking out had no money. It was going to my credit card. It had a little bit of credit left. And it was just like, boom, 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 boom,
it's
boom,
like you're
boom.
robbing Peter to pay
Yeah,
Paul.
and I was just like, and I was like this. When I worked at Rogers, there's one thing Ted Rogers did when he was starting out and he was in debt. They would call him, debt collectors, to be like, call him, or like not debt collectors, like maybe like his creditors,
Yeah.
you know, maybe cell phone towers or whatever. You need to pay blah, 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 blah. And what he would do is he would have all his bills and he would put his bills in a hat. And every month, he would just pick a bill from the hat and he'd pay it. So when they would call him and like, yo, you need to pay, he'd be like, do you want me to put your bill in the hat or not? Because that's how I'm paying. So if you want your bill in the hat, leave me alone. That's kind of what he was doing.
Damn.
So for me, I was just like, you know what? You'll get paid when you get paid, bro. Like when I have it, you'll get it.
It's not like I don't want to pay you.
Yeah, it's like
you can call me all you want.
Exactly.
But I don't have the money.
I don't have it.
Yeah.
So you'll get it when I get it.
Yeah.
And eventually, I was lucky. It was like around October, November. I started playing around with more research, and I had my ad went up.
No. What was the research?
Oh man, the research. So I was researching like really how Facebook. I thought I was doing a good job because I was doing a lot of interest targeting, like maybe put rappers in there and things that people would like. But then what happened for me that worked really well, which doesn't work that well anymore, which is unfortunate, is the lookalike audiences.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, I was doing all the, I had the Instagram people that were buying the game because they saw the ad from the Black entrepreneurship accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So luckily, I had all these emails. So I put those emails into Facebook and I was like, could you find people that look like these people? And then Facebook did it and they were just like, the ads were hitting like from day one. It was like boom, 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 boom,
Success.
boom, boom, boom.
Shopify pings.
And I was like, oh my God, like it's working. You know what I mean? And then people are buying the product, leaving comments like, yo, this is so fire. And I was like, holy shit, like I can pay my bills now, you know, up until December. And then that December I was able to like, you know, have Christmas gifts and like not be worried about it because like mans were legit broke. Like I was having sleep for dinner. Like, you know what I mean?
How that you're on the ramen diet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Some
So
days I would just go to bed early.
The lookalike audiences was like the key to you making this
It was the key at that time. Yeah.
Damn. 1%? 1% lookalike?
1% was crazy. 1% was like a surefire thing, always worked. And I ran that one ad. I didn't do any retargeting because I didn't know how to do that at the time. I didn't do anything else. I ran that one ad for like 2 years off of like retargeting audiences.
Mm-hmm.
And I was only spending like $100 and $200 a day. And then I went to $500 a day. And I was like, oh, like this is a good amount. Like I feel comfortable with. And I just kind of stayed at $500 a day. And I ran that ad for like 2 years and it slowly started to die. And then I was like, what the fuck, I'm scared. What do I do now? Back to, you know, all the message groups that I was in. I'm like,
back to the ramen diet.
Yeah, I was like, what do I do? How do I fix this? But now I feel more confident because I've been doing it for so long.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was like shook at that time.
So
but it worked out.
So, you know, this is not coming from me, the marketer. It's coming from someone who's done it. What are some tips you can give people who are struggling with marketing right now?
Sorry. If you're marketing, it's tough because everyone's product is so different. Mm-hmm. So your product might not slap, like it might be whack. Mm-hmm. But I think good marketing can always find a way to sell shitty products. Like when I was going through the Kickstarter, the things that I saw that were getting bread would just cheese me. Mm-hmm. I saw one toy. It was like a brush for a cat where humans.
Is it the one you put in your mouth?
You put your mouth and you can lick the cat.
I saw that.
Are you crazy?
I saw that. It was so like simple and dumb.
Right.
But people loved it.
And this is what people are buying. And people here are struggling.
Bro.
So you put plastic in your mouth.
It's like a brush.
A brush.
To mimic a mother of the kittens.
So imagine you're wearing like a mouth guard, but the mouth guard has like it's like an extended tongue, right? So it's like a plastic that just droops down with like a bristle on it,
right?
And you can carry like the cat, and you can just kind of like
you can do that.
So the cat thinks it's actually being licked up.
Wow!
So all the cat moms, every
cat ladies
owner,
went
cat
crazy.
Ladies, you know,
Listen,
they loved it.
Cat ladies is on fire.
How long would you use that for? Like how long would you use that for if you're a cat person?
Maybe 4 months.
4 months? I'm thinking like a week, and you're like, this is dumb.
No. But like you have to think about it. Like it's just like like it's if you see it. I was a person who's had a cat before when I was a kid.
So you would buy that? This is crazy.
This is crazy. I personally would not buy it just because I'm just not that guy. Like I love like my pets and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, oh, cool. But if I had like, if I know girls who own cats, who are obsessed with their cats, who'd be on that like white on rice, bro. I'm telling you.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm in the Matrix right now. Like this is crazy.
Bro, this is what people want, man.
So yeah, seeing that, I was like, yo, you can really sell anything. Your product can be whacker than a cat brush. Mm-hmm. A cat tongue brush, if your product is whacker than a cat tongue brush, like you just have to find something else.
Yeah, it's like one of those ideas. I mean, like why didn't I think about that?
Right.
You know? It's kind of like Scrub Daddy on Shark Tank. You've seen that product?
Yeah.
It's like, why didn't I just not think about that?
Yeah. But that product actually is cool because like if you put on the cold water, it gets hard.
Yeah.
If you put on hot water, it gets squishy.
It's true.
Right? And it has got a mouth where you can like do the forks and everything. Mm-hmm. Like that one I can kind of see. In cleaning product, you always need cleaning products. Mm-hmm. You don't need a cat brush.
And if it works that good, it's like I'm gonna come back and buy more Scrub Daddies.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Most definitely.
But yeah, like I think for advice for people is you have to learn how to market, and what the psychology of marketing I think is the biggest tool that I learned. And I learned that when I was doing photography stuff.
Yeah.
So like when I got laid out from Rogers, I was like, I'm gonna go full time being a photographer, right? And I would always meet with people. Let's say I met with 10 people, I would probably book 3 out of the 10, right? And it wasn't like my stuff was bad. I think my stuff was pretty good. But it was because I didn't have a psychology of marketing. I didn't have a psychology of how to sell, right? And then I took this course by a guy named Derek Halpern. Well, I didn't took it, I stole it online. I did the torrent. But like, I did that whole course and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do every piece of homework in this course. And I read the module like 0 and I was like running in my place. I don't forget this. And I was like, holy shit. He blew my mind in the first like video. And I'm like, this is gonna work. This is definitely gonna work. And
what was the tip?
The tip was, it was just like psychology of like marketing to people. So they would have like, he had like a field. And let's say your field is like this big and you have a line, a yes line where people will buy from you. So basically what he said was you would have people like little dots really close to the yes line. And these few people might be friends of friends, referrals, or acquaintances, right? The point is to get people that are over here, push them closer to the yes line with his like system. And I was like, holy shit. So he broke down parts of his system in this module, like these little pieces that you need to hit when you're talking to people to get them to buy your product and trust you. And I was like, oh shit, no, this is gonna work. Because like, I remember being in like buying a car and having the car salesman kind of hit these things years when I bought a car. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, no, like this is not bullshit. This is gonna work. And I did every piece of homework like I was saying. And then from there, I started to rebrand my photography stuff, like with the words, not with like Becky's like artwork, with the word that I would tell people like what I do. And I went from booking 3 out of 10 to like 9 out of 10. And I think the next year I had made like, I think almost like $90,000 in photography.
Wow.
Yeah.
More than I was making at Rogers.
That model also works in sales too. So Jordan Belfort, he wrote a book called
That's the Wolf of Wall Street
Wolf
guy.
of Wall Street, right?
Yeah.
He wrote a book called The Way of the Wolf. And he has in sales, like everybody who comes in a sales conversation wants to be sold to.
Right.
And what you have to do is you have to move, he calls it the certainty scale. So if I get you to like a 6, a 7, it's like I have to ask myself, like, through this sequential process, where on the certainty scale are they not needing, they need more assurance on? So there's like stuff on trust, there's stuff on product. Like where on the certainty scale on product are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah.
Right? So he can feel these things out. And sometimes he calls this part, sometimes your conversation is going to Uranus, right? Meaning like if you are, it's called a straight line method. And in the straight line method, he has all these different categories. And in each category, it's like a scale of like 1 to 10.
Yeah.
So you got to move through this straight line method of all these different things to get to a yes, because everybody's going to say yes to a sale once you hit all these certain things.
Yeah.
So when you don't get a sale, you're probably missing out on one of these things.
Yeah.
And he, like everyone who uses straight line, that's how every person in Wolf of Wall Street, he took an average Joe from high school, from college, with no background, and he taught them the straight line method to sell these stocks, and it worked. That's how everyone got rich.
Yeah, like these frameworks, like they legit do work.
Crazy work.
The first thing that I remember that was in this course, he broke down different types of people. So there's people who are hesitant, people who are feel like they don't have enough money, people who feel like this won't work for them. There's different like archetypes of people. And when you're going through your journey of how to sell, this journey actually answers all of their fears by the time you get to the end of it. So let's say you're someone who's hesitant, as from the beginning to end, you answer and you clear all their thoughts and all their fears. So at the end, they're like, well, you are the guy. You know, I don't have to go anywhere else. I've had multiple people in my photography meetings would say, sit down and be like, this is the best presentation I've had. And I've seen like 4 photographers. This is hands down the best photography meeting I've had. It's because like I kind of like mind fucked them through this psychology. The work hasn't changed. because the work has been the same. It's just presented in a way where they're like, why would I go anywhere else?
100%.
Yeah.
No, that's big.
Sales is all about psychology.
It's a lot of
It's all
psychology.
psychology, how you show up to the sale,
Mhm.
how you project. This is what we're talking about on the phone and
Yeah.
sales. It's like they can feel your energy through the phone. They can know when you're smiling. And Jordan talks a lot about it in his book too. So if you want to check it out.
I had a few people from Shopify, they always email you like, hey, new products, like, sign up for this. And this one girl was like, hey, you're doing really well with this product. We want to increase you to like our gold package, which would cost me more money. And I was like, okay, well, what is in it? She's like, first thing she started off with was how much it would cost. And I was like, okay. I read the whole email, and there was nothing about like what it would benefit me with. Nothing that I'm going to use and it's going to make my business better. And I told her, I'm like, hey, I'm not doing this. Like, I have no time for this. And she was like, why? I'm like, I don't know what you're selling me. I don't see any value. There's nothing here that you said. And I was being nice. I was like, there's nothing here that you said that makes me want to be like, okay, I'll give you more money. Because there's like her whole presentation was just like a bust, like it was a flop. There was nothing that spoke to me. You want my money? I'm selfish. I don't want to give it away. What is going to make me want to do that? Tell me. Are you going to give me X amount more sales, right? Are you going to, help my business out X amount more times for this much more dollars? There was none of that. And I was like, I don't have time for this. It's Q4. I'm busy. Like, you know what I mean? I'll talk to you later.
Lost a sale right there.
Yeah. So one thing I learned from that whole process was like, when you sit to meet with somebody, you have 45 minutes to an hour, because at the beginning of the meeting, that's when they're most excited, and that's when they're most like interested in what you have to say. Towards the end, the energy dies. You don't want to go longer than an hour. You want to get them in, get them out, you close it, and be out. And one thing I learned too, what I used to do, which is like really interesting, is that I would hand them their prices of what the photography would cost, and I would sit there and I would wait. You know what I mean? And I was like, if you have any questions, just let me know. And I was like, okay, they're not really talking in front of me. After like the third or fourth client, I was like, you know what? Let me leave the room. And I remember when my family member bought a car.
This is huge.
The photographer, the car salesman left when he was like, think about it. And I was like, let me try that. And I came back in the room with the photography and this photography client, and they had a lot of questions. And I was like, okay, you got to give people time to talk in private so they can make their decision if they want to go with you or not. Because the other way, I would sit with them and they'll be like, okay, well, we'll let you know. This way, when I left, they were discussing with each other, and they would usually book on the spot because they were like, why are we going to go anywhere else?
Yeah.
So it was very interesting, the psychology of sales.
Even in when I was working at Good Life Fitness, there's like two ways we're supposed to sell. So you have like the membership, then you have the personal training. So what I would do is like when I'm selling the membership is I would present the price. I'll present the prices. There's like 3 tiers to psychology of pricing. There's like, okay, this is the highest one. We know we're not gonna present. So you present that one first.
Right.
Then you present like the lowest one. Then you present like the middle one last, right? And that's where you want them to do. So I'd go say, hey, this is the pricing. You present it. Psychologically, you don't say anything at all. Like when you present the price, shut up.
Right.
Let them think it over, whatever. They think it over. I get up and I go say, I'm getting another binder.
Right.
I'll be right back. So I take 5 minutes, leave them. Now they're marinating the price.
Right.
Come back, like, hey, so what do you think?
Yeah.
And then now they've thought it over. There's no pressure to a decision
you
right
weren't
then and there.
Yeah.
And they end up choosing the last price I ended up choosing.
Of course.
Worked 100% all the time, man.
Yeah.
Such a gem.
It's just like our minds are like hardwired to do certain things.
Yeah.
And it's just really interesting that like what you said to me is exactly what I was doing. And I don't know if you took a course, but like
I did a lot
it's the
of
same
sales
thing,
training,
right? Yeah. Same thing.
Yeah, that's big. That's big. So as work towards wrapping up, where do you see Auxgod going in the future?
what do I see? I really want to do like more live events.
Live events.
Yeah, more live events.
Yeah, so we didn't touch on that. Talk to us about the Auxgod parties you used to do.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't. I mean, it's been shitty, right? The COVID.
Of course. But
So,
before
like,
the
yeah,
vid.
they were just really fun, man. I thought, you know, the whole concept was if we get people to play Auxgod in their home and they feel they're really good at their home, to take these at-home battlers, put them on a stage with other at-home battlers, and we can just see, you know, who's the best out of those two teams, out of those two households. You know, that was kind of like the idea behind it. And then get a crowd to come and watch, because everyone loves to hear music. And when you're playing Auxgod, it's like those games on like Family Feud or something. Like you ask a question and you're at home thinking like, oh, is this on the board? You know what I mean? So if you pull an Auxgod card, you're kind of thinking like, oh, like I play this. You know, what would they play? I hope they don't play that. And then you get the other part where like the judges have to deliberate and you're like, man, I can't believe they gave that point to that person. You know what I mean? So the battles were fun. They were live. I just can't wait till we can do those again.
I have something to ask you. So you've done photography, started photography business, then you did Auxgod. Is there a point where you were dabbling with ideas? Were you searching for other ideas outside of photography in terms of being an entrepreneur that like, man, that would be cool to try out. This would be cool. Like, what were those ideas that you had before you landed to Auxgod?
I had one idea. It's funny to talk about brushes.
Yeah.
I had one idea that I thought would actually work, and then I saw it on Shark Tank, and they ripped this couple apart. It was so for women when they shampoo their hair, like, and some of it falls out, right? It would be like on their fingers and stuff. And I was like, it'd be cool to have like a suction cup brush, like in the shower, that you can kind of like wipe, and it will take the hair off, and you can go back and start washing your hair again. I thought that was a great idea. And then I saw it on Shark Tank, and I was like, oh, well, yeah. I'm like, they're gonna get a deal for sure, because this makes sense. And they got ripped. And I was like, shit. Damn.
Yeah.
It's a good thing I didn't do that
one. That's amazing, man. That's unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congrats.
That was like one of the ideas that I thought about that I can like remember.
Yeah. Because I was like, man, you went from photography to Aux. Like, as an entrepreneur, I know you're probably thinking of ideas all the time, because we always do that. Like, yeah, that'd be dope. That'd be dope. That'd be dope. So it's cool to see that you thought about some other things before, you know, this landed on your lap like naturally. Yeah. And you followed through with
My next thing is like I've been looking into vending machines a lot.
Yeah.
I just other things, you know, just to keep money going and keep things interesting.
Build that wealth.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, if you're an entrepreneur, you just want to keep creating, and just like those investors, you know, they put money in 10 things, you know, 2 might take off.
Facts. Now, one thing I want to mention as well before we get out of here was the strategy for going forward. You know, how do you see, is it strictly gonna stay on Instagram and Facebook continue to grow? Are you looking to TikTok? Are you looking at other platforms as well?
Yeah, I tried TikTok this year.
How'd it go?
We tried a bunch of ads. Like, I made some very TikTok-y ads.
Yeah.
Like in my at my mom's house with my like cousins and stuff, and they were getting some traction. They were getting a lot of clicks, but no purchases.
Yeah, I'm seeing that too sometimes.
So yeah, so I that was a tough one. I didn't really. I tried it for like maybe a month, and it was really tough. I tried a bunch of different ways.
Yeah, you can't do lookalikes as well as easy.
Yeah, and to make them took like 12 hours.
Yeah.
So it was crazy. Yeah, that was really, really weird. But like, it's something I'm gonna go back to for sure, because like the cost per click is really cheap on TikTok. But I've had people that I've talked to, and they're like, they made a great bunch of money on TikTok. And I'm just like, how? See,
the challenge, right, is that TikTok, the targeting on TikTok, it's very broad.
Yeah,
Super broad. Whereas on Facebook, you can go culturally specific.
Yeah.
Or use lookalikes at an easier rate. Yeah. Because you can't upload custom audiences to TikTok like you can. Because you have to use like a specific codes and stuff like that, like the AIDs or something like that to upload it. So it makes it a lot tougher for entrepreneurs like us to get into TikTok, because they don't have those capabilities. So it's just one thing that makes it tougher. And that's where Reels makes it easier, because we can do the exact same thing, but let's use the TikTok content on Instagram.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, TikTok is tough. And even YouTube I want to try.
Oh, for sure, you kill it on YouTube.
Yeah, so like there's a bunch of things I do want to try. It's just like now I feel like I have, I can do that because I'm not so constrained with doing 10 jobs. I can focus on like the few that that are like making money for the business every day.
Got you. And we didn't give like some figures and numbers for the audience as well. So what would you say a normal year would be for you in revenue?
The first few years, I didn't make much money. I just kind of like kept going because I was like, it's always tough because people say they don't make money, but they can pay their bills, right? So I was paying my bills, but I wasn't making any money for the business, I was able to, when things started to work, I was able to like obviously eat and like pay my credit card and like insurance and stuff like that. And that's kind of how it is now. But like the first few years, I don't think I made very much money. Last year, we just broke $500,000 Canadian. But even though it's crazy, like I always tell people like, hey, we made $500,000, but mans are still broke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The numbers sound good, but at the end of the day, it's like they're nowhere near you where you want to be. The other day I was thinking, I was like, how much money do you have to make to where like you're actually good? Because you make $500,000 for a business and you're just like still in debt. It's crazy. It's crazy. Everything, it just costs so much.
Yeah, I hear the number's 10 mil.
10 mil?
10 mil, here's the number.
1 million is hard to make.
Yeah.
Like Kevin O'Leary said, 1 million is hard to make. 5 million is super tough. 10 million is like nearly impossible.
As a business.
As a business. This is what Kevin O'Leary said.
10 million.
10 million is like impossible.
So it's like if you break 10 million, you're in an elite company of entrepreneurs.
Yeah. And you're in a company of entrepreneurs where your business hasn't flopped. Because most businesses flop within like the first 5 years. If you can make it to year 5 and you're still floating, you're like an anomaly almost. To make it to 10 million, that's like, you're crazy.
You're good.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's the truth. Man, and let's hop on that note, because that's the real note to leave on. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the show. The hustle is what you can control. So control your grind and control your life. I'm Alex.
And I'm Owen.
I'm Mike Bamboo. Check me out at Mike Bamboo on Instagram. And get yourself a copy of Auxgod, www.auxgodgame.com. Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Auxgod Game.
Exactly.
Most definitely. Thank y'all for listening. And make sure you check out our merch, hustleeverything.co.
Cozy pack, use the code WinterHustle on the website, $100, sweatpants and hoodies delivered straight to your door.
And check out this podcast right here with Yara Kamal. She's one of the top sellers on Shopify in Canada. Selling yoga. So that's a great episode to check out. All right, y'all. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.
Peace out.